a friend of mine that played this tutorial and never played Runa before. He said it was pretty good, so I'm hoping it's pretty good. So there's these little blurbs, and then it tries to get you to do stuff too. So, for example, it wants me to hover over and slot in the dice onto him. And look at the atmosphere, by the way. I love this lighting. The lighting and like the effects in this game are gonna be generally better than Pilgrimmed. Um, it's still gonna be the Pilgrim style, but it's gonna be generally more like, I guess, awesomer in a sense. There you see, and then you just get all this. He yaps a lot, and then yeah. So that's how the tutorial is gonna work basically, and it runs you over the basic mechanics, and I think it's pretty good for what you're fighting in the first few stages and chapters. So, but there will be like refresher tutorials and stuff that just go over like the stuff that you might have forgotten and stuff for like preparing fights, uh, and stuff like that. So you'll never have a moment where you're like, what the fuck's going on? At least for like base mechanics. Will potions and fishing be a part of the game, or at least an alternative to getting either fish or potions? Potions will exist as support pages, which are like support cards, I should say, which are like they're like cards, but except they go last, and depending on the sum of their rolls. So you know how? Oh, whoopsie daisy! I did not mean to prop this tutorial, but yeah, look. So you know how these deal damage, right? They go individually, but in a support card, instead the card adds up all the rolls of each thing. So like for example, it'll roll this, it'll give like 2. And then it'll add it to this, which gives like 2, for example. And then this does this, and then it'll sum up all of the rolls, and then it'll do something based off that roll. That's how it works in this game for support cards. And that's how potions will work, for example. So if you roll like a really high potion roll, you'll get really high effects and stuff. That's how it works. And there'll be more support options too and stuff. But potions will be a support thing, yeah. Only thing will be that it'll be kind of what's the word? You won't have the same customizability for potions in this game, but they'll still exist. And then fishing, I don't think will exist at all. At least as far as I'm aware. Uh, will there be public testing? Not to my awareness. No. Mainly because I already have a huge team of testers, and that's. I mean, there's no point in having public testing if I already have them. And besides, you guys will be able to play when the game's 70% done, so it doesn't even matter. Will there be gacha in this game? No. You will be guaranteed all the main drops from an enemy. So, like for example, if he dropped these cards, you would always get these cards no matter what, and you'll have an infinite amount of them, unlike Rona. So you'll always be able to use as much as you want. But there are still card limits. Like you can't have uh 4 of the same card, and if it's like a certain tier, you can only have one of them, for example. But you'll have an infinite amount, so you don't have to waste your time grinding for it, unlike Runa. Will there be some limit statuses that isn't in Runa get added? At least not to my awareness. Yet again, it depends on what I make for the game. But I'm generally planning to just go off the pilgrim statuses. Do you have any planned special gimmicks like how Runa has smoke, charge, and singleton? I do have gimmicks planned, mainly like resin, like weapon res and like the class gimmicks and stuff. But I'm sure I'll think of more when I'm actually making the game. Because right now, I've only made the thieves thing in the Thief King, so there isn't too much to go off of. But there's definitely gimmicks I plan to add for sure. Absolutely, this game will be at least a little bit more creative for sure.